Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Babes Who Brand. I'm super excited about today's episode, and I know I say that every week, but every week I'm just joined by some amazing women, and so I'm so excited to have yet another one with me on today. How are you doing today, Shauna?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So I have with me today Shauna MacKenzie, and so for those that may not be familiar with you, I'm going to share your brief bio and kind of let people know too how I first found out about you, because I've been following you actually for a while. So this is so exciting to me. So Shauna MacKenzie is a speaker, content marketer, and communication specialist. She founded and co-owns the leading online educational portal for image consultants, Studio for Image Professionals. And she is the founder of the global renowned online community for self-employed Best Kept Self, and recently launched a new 30-day lifestyle cleanse that she calls the Yes Diet. And she's been named one of the top personal branding specialists in the world by Huffington Post, a top 40 under 40 award winner, and one of the most influential women in business in Charleston, South Carolina. And so I'm just so excited that you said yes to being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So I first got connected to you when I first got started. I did more visual branding, and specifically in the area of image consulting. And at the time I was looking at becoming certified, and some kind of way stumbled upon your program. And then, but what ended up happening, some different things took place. And so now I do overall branding. So I kind of held off on my certification. So I decided, like, what do I really want to do? But I've continued to follow you in the process. So I remember when you launched Best Kept Self and, and all those different things. And so when I decided I wanted to do the show, like, you were definitely like in the top 10 of people that I wanted to invite to be on the show. So I'm so excited that you said yes.
I love that. I love that. So, today is actually the second birthday of Best Kept Self, which is super exciting. So if you remember us launching it 2 years ago, then you've been there for the full journey, which is great.
Yes. So awesome. So this is so exciting. So we're just going to have a little bit of candid conversation. I like to start out with asking my guests to tell us just a little bit about your journey and how you ended up getting into branding and image consulting. And then we'll kind of just take the conversation from there.
Okay.
So
yeah. So I was very fortunate to have a mom who was very keen to what my skills were growing up. And she never pushed me into any industry, but she was always very good about saying, Shauna, you're really good at this, or you seem to really like this. And when she kind of put all of these things together, she actually had, I guess, been at some speaking event or something of a woman who was an image consultant in my hometown. And so she said, Shauna, you should write this woman and see if you could job shadow her, because I think it might be an industry that you would really like. And at that time, I'm like, 17. I had no idea what that was. And so that was my first taste and experience of that. And it was having someone else kind of point out for me, what my skills were and tell me, kind of give me some ideas of how I could capitalize on those. And so it had always been at the back of my mind. And then, I get through college, communication degree, entrepreneurship degree. I get my first job out of college, which is working for the military. So like the exact opposite of what I think of entrepreneurship. Great experience, but I knew during that time that I really didn't, that wasn't going to be my long-term thing. And so while I was working that job, I went back into my, my head, and that thing that was always stuck there was image consulting. So I just started reaching out to anyone and everyone that I knew that was doing it in South Carolina, which I just moved to this area within that year, and just started having some conversations. And then I did what you did. I explored certification programs. I found one that I really liked. I took that. And then within a month of my certification, I launched my website. And so all of my clients, and this is 2007 at the time, all of my first few clients came from that website. Then, of course, social media is like really new. I mean, Facebook was still exclusive to, I think, college at this time. And so none of that existed, but was about to in my world. So I was there at the advent of social media coming into the world. And image consulting changed drastically during that time period, because it was kind of reserved for this face-to-face union and conversation of sorts. And now we have to deal with image consulting in an online world. And so that, took a whole other turn for me as I became more and more engaged digitally.
Awesome. So of course we're here to talk about branding, and I love all things fashion. And so, image consulting is still like right there with the visual piece of it. But I want to kind of talk a little bit about how important it is with your overall brand as an entrepreneur when it comes to the image that you put out. So what are your thoughts around that? Because, there's varying, thought processes about that. And so I would love to hear from you what you have to say.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about it is that it's a massive tool that you already have. And so as entrepreneurs, we tend to be really focused in on, the website, the business card, the certifications, like all of those things. But we forget about one of the biggest tools that we can totally capitalize on, and that's our image and our self brand. And the cool thing about that in and of itself is that basically you just get to be more of yourself in order to sell less, which is amazing. But the problem is that's a lot easier said than done. When it comes to actually getting out there in the world and being an entrepreneur and putting yourself out there, I find 9 times out of 10, especially with women, we tend to kind of, almost like put our thumb on ourselves, like put a kind of like a blanket over ourselves, and we tend to tone ourselves down. And in actuality, we should be doing the opposite. And so there's still some strategy and such, and some tactics that you still need to employ. It's not as easy to say, just be yourself, as you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I definitely find when working with my clients too, it is a process of really getting to know the true you, almost in a way, because so often we have been molded into some form of a box, whether it's our own expectations or those from people around us. And so, so I definitely agree. It is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, and you're right. It does. It comes from people around you. And, it kind of like, if you think about my mom saying, Shauna, this is a great career path for you, it still takes, that's 50% of it. I have to take that and process that and really understand, okay, is that truthful to me? That's truth to her, but is that truthful to me? And I found out at that time that it was. But I think that's the hardest part, is like taking, anything that you do with branding or marketing, you have to poll, you have to assess, you have to survey the people around you. Then it's really hard and difficult, I think, to determine what's worthwhile in that knowledge and what can you kind of set aside and isn't truthful for you.
Right. I like that. Is it truthful for you? That's very tweetable for those that are watching us, because I don't think that, because a lot of times, especially as women, and majority of my audience is, of course, women entrepreneurs. That's who I service. I don't think that we really recognize and take the time to really discover that is what is truthful to us, because we're normally always focused on everyone else, around us, whether they're married or children or just family in general, friends, it's always about everyone else and ourselves last. And so that's why I love Best Kept Self. So I would love for you to just talk a little bit more about that and exactly what all that is about, especially on the anniversary. I didn't realize that part. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Best Kept Self is exactly what you said. It is our mission and initiative to ensure that everyone, but more specifically our female audience, is putting their self-care and their needs first, which even saying that tends to give us a little tinge, because it's like, ooh, putting our needs first. It sounds so selfish, But the thing is, if we're not okay, if we don't take care of ourselves, how in the world are we possibly able to take care of the people around us? And that is all about nourishing mind, body, and soul. And I like to talk about finding synergy, not necessarily balance, between those things, and being really self-aware about when you need which of those 3 things, or maybe 2 out of those 3 things, and giving that to yourself. And I personally, in my evolution as a business owner, know that your best kept self, and when you thrive, that is directly tied to your business thriving. They go hand in hand. You cannot build an amazing, successful company or whatever that vision is if you first and foremost don't build your temple, your body and your soul and your mind in a way that's actually going to give you the energy, the inspiration, the creativity to do so.
Right, right. So true, so true. And so that's very important. I talk about self-love and self-care a lot as well, just as a part of my journey, but also because I do feel like that is something that oftentimes is lost when it comes to women. But I want to shift because I like to I ask this question pretty much to everyone that comes on my show because I like to see the similarities in some of the answers when we're talking about branding specifically. And so when working with clients, especially female entrepreneurs, what do you feel like is like the number one thing that most female entrepreneurs have the hardest time with when it comes to branding themselves or their business?
Branding themselves in their business. That threw a curveball. I thought you were going to ask me in general, and I was going to say stepping into their worth, but I think you can tie that to branding as well. You know, you read all these statistics about how women aren't charging the same prices for the same services as men are. We highly undervalue ourselves. And I do think that that really rolls into all the tangible aspects of our branding as well. And women too, this goes back to what you were saying earlier, have this like weird issue with wanting to be in the spotlight, you know, because we're so used to putting everyone else first. Yes. And so when we think of putting ourselves in the spotlight, it feels icky. It's like when, you know, you're at like a wedding or you have to cross the dance floor and everyone else is seated. Like it's you feel like you need a purse or you need to be on your phone or you need to do something to take the focus off of yourself. And so it's like we have this fear of putting ourselves out there. And I think that so many women are doing the world such a disservice because they have such an amazing talent or skill that could change lives. And because they aren't branding themselves in a way that's giving them the exposure for people to find their skills, I mean, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting those people who desperately need what you have to give.
Right. So true. So it's so funny because you ended up right in the same place that everyone, I would say this is episode 11, probably at least 7 out of the 11 shows, and 2 of them have just only been me. The people said that same thing. It's a broad consensus in regards to that. And I guess where my thing is with that too, and why I always ask that question is because I want people that are watching to see that as a reoccurring theme so that in a way we can start trying to figure out like what do we need to do to break that, because you know, in entrepreneurship is now to the point where we can't say it's because you know, like in the regular corporate world, 9 to 5, yes, we realize that women are paid less, but now we come over into entrepreneurship and it's on us, you know, now it's because we're charging less and not charging enough. And I know that's something that I've struggled with and still need to probably correct some things, you know, even within my own business. And a lot of times I'm just trying to figure out like, what is the root, you know, the root of that. So I love having these conversations because a lot of times people come from different thought processes on why we do that. And so I just like to talk about that a little bit. But I think it's true because too often we are, I don't know, like, it's like, it is exactly like you said. I love that analogy of walking across the dance floor because we're so used to being the busy bee in the background. You know, that's doing the work or, you know, head down kind of, not all of us, but a vast majority of us, you know, are kind of like chilling in the background a lot of times.
I know. And, you know, but we crave it. So we crave it so bad. And I'm not going to lie. Like I will call every woman out on this because I do it. I sit there and I'll go, why not me? Look at what she's doing. And it's like, well, I'm only doing that to myself, you know, so you can't sit there and go, poor me. Why am I not successful? Or why am I not getting those clients? Or why am I not, you know, selling 6 figures in my e-course? Well, she's rocking it out and putting herself out there, you know, which is a really incredible feat because it's so scary to, you know, think of all the judgments that are going to be made about you, what people are going to think. And a lot of times our fear rests in these really silly things. Oh, I'm going to be judged for my hair. I'm going to be judged for what I look like. I'm going to be judged that my video isn't good enough. Like, really, when you think about it, those are really, really silly things to be this scared of, to hold ourselves back from the greatness that we all have.
Yes, that's so true. That's so true. And I don't think that I've even really thought about it like that, but but it is true. I've done that too. You see people, you're like, why haven't I hit that milestone? And, and then you get into, a lot of times I think too, even you get into the comparison, it's not necessarily in a derogatory or negative way, but it still is damaging, right? Because you're looking like, why not me? What's going on with me? And it begins to make you doubt yourself, and it is because, like you said, you're just not putting yourself out there in the way that you need to. So when you're working with your clients, how do you help them to overcome that lack of wanting to step out and show up?
It's really about keeping that future vision really, really clear and at the forefront of everything that you're doing. And everyone has a different kind of motivational, I'm gonna call it a pain point, because I think that that's truly what it often takes for us to, give ourselves a kick in the butt. So you have to figure out, what is it that gets that person like off their feet and revived into wanting to do. And a lot of times it's seeing what their competition is doing. But even if that's it, I still want the bigger motivation to be this really accurate vision of what they look like and what their business looks like in the future to which they're trying to get to. And if they can wake up every day envisioning this place that they're getting to, every single day they're making steps, then once you hold that, you know the power of what having a clear vision does, all the way down to athletes practicing visioning techniques to get the shots and whatnot. And so I think having that really clear picture and then really figuring out what the motivational pain point is for those moments where you do feel discouraged. And a lot of times, like I said, that is competition, seeing competition. Maybe it's seeing someone that you admire, a mentor doing something really awesome. And it could be just, you have those go-to people that you always call when you're having a low moment that you can just like brain dump all the silly, discouraging thoughts, and then you move on your way. Sometimes you just got to get it out of your head.
So my business bestie is on here. She's actually giving you props right now while you're talking, and that she is one of those that I go to and do that very thing, that brain dump, and get it all out. And she's like, okay, and you done? And back.
Yes, get it out. Yeah,
right. So it is very important that we create support systems, and a lot of times it has to be from other entrepreneurs, because I don't know about anyone else, but I know for me, like, I'm one of the first ones in my family. And so even though my family is very supportive, there's a lot of things that they just don't get, because this is not their lifestyle, right? This is not what they have done. And so I think that speaks to also the importance of creating some type of sisterhood amongst other entrepreneurs as well, so that you do have that safe place to go to.
Absolutely.
Is very key. And so with that, how important is building community? Has it been for you in the growth and expansion of your brand?
So important. And building the right kind of community. Being really crystal clear on who you want to surround yourself with. I don't think it's enough to simply say build a community. I think you need to build a community of not only like-minded people, but you want people that kind of share the same thoughts, but can also, give you diverse opinions as well. So essentially you want people on the same level, on higher levels, and people that are looking to get to your level. You want to support all three of those areas. But we also know the impacts of 1 to 2 people within a community and how infectious that can be on a negative side. And so you have to be really deliberate about who you bring into your life on all of those levels. But without community, we've got nothing. I mean,
Right.
nothing. And so every day you should be nourishing and nurturing that community, whoever they are, family and friends, and the people who understand it and the people who don't understand it.
Right, exactly. So one of our viewers just stated diversity is so important in your community.
Yeah.
It is very true. And so some of the best even online communities that I am a part of are very diverse, not only in what we do, service wise or products that we provide, but just also in, upbringing and age and just everything.
Yeah.
And it does make for very rich conversation, because a lot of times even when you are exposed to a lot of different things, without having that type of community, you still only know within your parameters, right? Of
Yes.
what you've been introduced to and
Yes.
what you've seen around you. And so I think it's very, very important.
And I don't think you're able to, I don't think you can possibly grow living in the same ecosystem and only interacting within that same ecosystem. I don't get how anyone would grow. That boggles my mind. I think that it's all of our responsibility to go out there and interact with different groups of people. And I think it's our responsibility to see different parts of the world, to experience different cultures. I mean, there's so much to learn. There's so much growth to be had. I went to Tanzania was that last year? Last year or the year before, for 2 weeks. And, I went there on a mission trip, which kind of intuitively you think, you're bringing something of value. But I walked away from that trip gaining so much more value. That culture and the people there that I met taught me way more than I feel like I taught them or communicated with them. And I just, it's so amazing to me that we have these amazing learning experiences around us and we don't venture out to take advantage of those.
Right. That's awesome that you went and did that as well. I love that. And so I just want to let everyone know, because I know some people may be listening while they're at work and not actually seeing the chat. And so I want to let everyone know, if you have any questions, you can feel free to take a minute and type it in the chat, and we'll answer those questions as well. So you can go ahead and feel free to do that. So I just wanted to say that, because I know a lot of our audience is still in a 9 to 5. So a lot of them are just listening in as they're working. So but so I think it is important even to grow your business, that you expose yourself to various things and different mindsets as well, just to look at how you can progress, and that's really how you expand. So I know one of the questions that I do get a lot that I would love your take on is when it comes to mentorship. And so a lot of people ask me, how do you go about actually trying to find a mentor, not a coach, but an actual mentor that's going to help you get to the next level? Because I believe that mentors and coaches are very different. They can be the same person, but it's different roles. And I get a lot of people that ask me, how do you go about truly finding a mentor that will work with you, especially as a woman, in this industry, or just as an entrepreneur, period?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, good question. And honestly, I'm going to give you no advice here, because I still to this day struggle with it. I mean, I guess by nature of, you understand what image consulting is like. So by nature of already kind of being a coach from a really, really young age, probably younger than I should have been coaching people, I've always been on that side of it. And I don't know if that's what set me up to have such a difficult time of finding then a mentor. But I severely struggle with finding, especially female mentors in my life. Now, I've hired coaches. I believe that's so incredibly important. So I've taken a paid route, and luckily I've had both negative and really positive experiences with both. But I wish that I knew the answer to that. And I mean, right. It's such a good question, because I think so many people, and even people at a high level, are struggling with, and it's not talked about enough. I don't know if there's not enough vehicles aligned for us to find that. I don't know if, I I don't know what the answer is. I think you really need to be clear on what it is that you aspire to. I think you need to be clear on who you admire, what you value in terms of personality, characteristics, morals. And just, again, like anything else, you know, have a strong vision of what that person looks like. And I do have faith that they'll come into your life at the right point. But for me, I've never had what I would say like a genuine mentorship where like I could call that person totally gratis and it's, you know, not a paid thing. I've always paid for it.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So one of the viewers, Regina, says, yes, I strongly agree with what you were just saying. And so it's true for me. So I'm glad that you said that, though, because at the end of the day, I don't think I struggled with it too, right? And so,
yeah,
you know, so at the same time, it's just kind of like, at least now I feel like I'm not crazy. Right?
No,
you know?
I don't. And to be honest, like, I think of some people around me, some other females, and they're all in the same boat. And it kind of makes you feel insecure because, like, it's so important to constantly be looking for that feedback. And so I know I've questioned, do I not have a mentor because I'm being too closed off to criticism? Or like, do I not have a mentor because I'm not listening to the people outside of me? And I don't think that that's it. And so I've stopped trying. I've looked internally to see if I'm responsible for that. I just think that we haven't created the vehicle in which that can happen easily.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But if you find the answer, please let me know.
Well, I will let you know. So because I don't know. And I think that part of it too is just it does come over, just my personal opinion. I think that it does come over from corporate you know, life in regards to now I had some really great bosses that did kind of like help me and do things, but at the same time it was always a situation where they only helped you so much because they didn't want to set up their position for being taken in their mind. So whereas a lot of times men aren't always operating in that thought, it's just like, okay, I have mine, you get yours. And so I just think that that has just came over, you know, into the entrepreneurship realm where most of my mentors are like mentors in my head where I just see them, you know, from a distance, you know, type of thing. But it still creates a environment where not only are you looking for it, but it's almost like you're afraid to approach or ask and say, you know, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of people that I do hear talking about say, oh, well, let them come to you, never ask them. And it's like, well, how are they going to know to come to me?
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? And you're kind of like stirring up some thoughts actually in terms of, you know, maybe we're putting too much pressure on mentorship in entrepreneurship. I think we've maybe idealized and created a perception of what we think mentorship is based on maybe corporate environments, and it just doesn't work for entrepreneurship. And here's the problem with it too, is like, I guess when you say, you know, do you have any mentors? Well, if mentorship is all about learning something from someone, then I couldn't even count them on 10 fingers over and over again. I've learned so much from so many people at any given point. It could be a 2-minute life lesson. It could be someone in my life for 2 months, 2 years. So I guess those are all mentors, but maybe we're just putting way too much pressure on what we think it looks like based on an ideal kind of corporate structure, and it just doesn't work. And frankly, the people that we want the advice from are most likely coaches and consultants who do this for a living. You know, so like they're not necessarily going to be doing mentorship for free.
Right.
So I don't know.
True. That's very true. So we do have someone in the chat box. Regina is asking, what advice would you give on building your list?
Yes, so important to build the list. These days, it's getting harder and harder and harder because everyone's list building has become in and of itself like its own industry of experts. And so if your newsfeed looks anything like my newsfeed in Facebook, it is all targeted sponsored ads about how to build your list and create free webinars and do all this stuff. It's not an answer people like because they want something concrete, but it really is just putting an immense amount of value out there. It is not concrete, but it's so incredibly simple. Like, just have something really incredible and genuine to say that is truly passion filled. Don't do it from this strategic angle of putting together words and certain phrases that, you know, psychologically sell. Like, that shortcut never works. And so you just need to have something to say that is so incredibly finely tuned and focused to your mission. And you need to say it over and over and over in very unique ways. And people will latch on. So it's, again, it goes back to personal branding and just being more of yourself and putting that out there, and doing it very consistently. People will join a news. They don't need a bribe. Yes, opt-in bribes definitely are a strategy I would highly recommend, like having a free PDF giveaway or something. But unless you really follow that up with good content, they're going to get what they want and then they're going to unsubscribe. People will join the newsletter regardless if they love what they're seeing initially. So every touch point that you have out there, every tweet, every video, every interview, every whatever, needs to be so consistently branded and compelling. But that can only work if you feel really amazing about what it is that you're doing.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Yes, that is definitely something that everyone, like, my news feed looks like yours between that and course creation.
Yes, it's crazy. Yeah.
So, but with that, I want to kind of talk about it because, you know, you have been talking about more of being your authentic self and really with your messaging and your brand's voice. And I find that that is definitely an area a lot of women struggle in truly articulating, you know, what they want to say with their brands, but also without having freedom to do it, right? So you get a lot of women that are like, well, you know, like for me, I'm told all the time I'm over the top, even though I'm an introvert. I have extrovert tendencies.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and so normally I have on bright colored glasses, but it's kind of gloomy here. So I have on my brown and blue today, but normally I have on like bright pink or, you know, orange or whatever. And so even for me, like, I get told often, like, you're over the top, you're doing too much, you're so vibrant, you need to tone it down, you know, all this stuff. And but it's like, but that's true to who I am. And so I personally have not subscribed to the turn down, you know, philosophy, but I know a lot of women really struggle with standing 100% in who they are because they fear turning off people. So what do you say to those women?
You're going to turn people off whether you do or whether you don't. You know, like, there's going to be people that don't like it either way. So if you're going to go through it, you might as well be 100% authentic and genuine if people aren't going to like it irregardless. So I wouldn't put a tremendous amount of energy kind of muffling yourself when either way you're going to have people that don't support it. But that's the thing to me, that's like a cue that you're doing something right. I kind of look for that when I'm working with personal brands, because the people that do get it really get it. You know, like the people who see the what was the word that you used? Like, out there, like outgoing.
Yeah, over the top.
The people that love that really love that, and they're going to be your biggest brand ambassadors. And the people who don't like that, I mean, so you can't please everyone. We know this. So I would rather be fully authentically me and turn people off, because I know on the other side of that, I am way more powerful in my brand to that audience. When if I just muffled myself, I would be kind of a little bit powerful with that audience, and then I wouldn't be as annoying to those people who didn't like me, but I'm living down the middle of the road, and then I'm just caught up with everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely true. And so, and it you know, and even for me, like, it took me a while to fully embrace it. I'll say I've always kind of done that, but to fully embrace it in its totality. Like I was always the girl, speaking of fashion, like I was always the girl growing up that bought the shirt from the store that everybody would be like, you gonna wear that shirt? And then I would be like, yeah, I like the shirt. It's different. You know, I always hated having things that everybody was wearing. So I've never been the one that's been on trend or, you know, any of that. And so I'm the one that always get the shirt. And then when I will put it together in an outfit, people are like, oh, that's so cute. I'm like, this is the same ugly shirt you ain't like when I when I bought it. So that piece of it has always been innately me. But I still resonate with the struggle that a lot of women have to truly embrace it and really flow in it, because you do get, I feel like as women, we get a lot more outside cues on how we're supposed to be and what we should be doing than men do. And so,
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And I think it's really, really important to solicit the help of experts in this. It's not easy. I think that women put a lot of pressure on themselves because they think that we think we're supposed to come out of the womb with makeup and clothing skills. And it's kind of like making the assumption that every guy knows how to work on cars. Like poor men, we put so much pressure on them. We just expect that like guys know how to do certain things. And so it's the same thing for women, you know, like I think we look around and if we don't have those skills, which I believe the majority of women do not know how to put on makeup or use makeup brushes or to put color palettes together, like that is not an innate thing. So stop putting the guilt and the pressure on ourselves to think that it is. And so I think you really need to, I think you kind of know, like, this is what makes me feel good. And this is what I admire in other people, which tends to be what we admire in ourselves. And then you can take that just like you would, you know, I like these colors and I like these websites and you're a marketing professional. And then they help you actually execute on it.
Right. So true. And that's so funny. But we do, like, I mean, I just got into makeup not too long ago. So, but people do think that. They think that, you know, we just automatically know, and this is, you know, this is what it is, but it's not true. Yeah. So we are squashing that myth right now. And just that, and women feeling like they have to be in that box. You know, I work a lot with women who are speakers or that aspire to be speakers. And so one of the things that always ends up coming out is that not everyone wants to wear, you know, suits and dresses and, you know, all of those things on the stage. And I'm always like, you don't have to, but it's like, how am I going to get on the stage in front of all these people and, you know, and not have those things on? But I'm like, I'd rather see you in a pair of jeans and a blouse or something that you love than you up there with a suit on pulling on it, you know, because you're uncomfortable. Yeah. And so, yeah. The very, very first image consulting client that I booked, you know, was totally nerve-wracking because, you know, you put this business out to the world and then people actually call and you're like, oh no, I can't actually do this. I've never worked with a client before. And so my very first client, I put on this little matching suit skirt set that I had bought in New York. And it was I am not a suit person at all. And I wore pantyhose, which like in South Carolina, you are not wearing pantyhose in South Carolina. I went to this client consult and I felt so insecure the whole time. Like I looked professional, I guess, but like I felt so insecure the whole time. And you're right. Like you need to eliminate as many distractions as possible when you need to get down to it and get done what you need to get done. And that's all the way down to dress. So I think with wardrobe specifically, there's a good marriage between your style and your brand and eliminating distractions, which is a huge part of image consulting. Right. So I want to talk just a few minutes on the fashion side of it in regards to your thoughts around having signature pieces. So, and how that could benefit or deter your brand or, you know, whatever your thoughts are around it. For example, one of my signature pieces is my glasses. I always have them on, some color, something, but that's my thing. Like, people know me by that. And so I'm curious to see, what are your thoughts around a signature piece?
I love a signature piece. I really love a signature piece. I find, like anything else, you know, I'm not sure how you chose glasses, or if it just was, you know, you stumbled upon it totally organically. I find the organic approach much better than going, okay, you're always going to wear a signature brooch right here. You know, like, that's just a little bit too fake. And so I like to pull from the things that they're already gravitating to. So we would go into a closet and, or we do our little style exercises, and there's always a pattern. We look for patterns. And if it's an accessory, which it oftentimes is, because that's much more inexpensive to swap out and have more fun with, then you always can kind of see that with a person's style. So first you have to really sit down and figure out what your style is. And then I think within that bigger picture, you can kind of pinpoint something that sticks out within that pattern. So the best thing to do, honestly, is we just instruct people to, these days, go on Pinterest or go through magazines and create a style vision board, and just pin everything that you love, regardless if you think you can wear it or body type, and always be cultivating that signature style board. And always have that. And then once you put at least 10 to 15 images there, if you look through it, you will see a very distinct pattern. Either you've chosen 5 things that all have stripes, or everything is neutral, or everything is gold and black, or everything has a waist accent. And so look for the pattern, and then within that, you'll probably find a signature piece of some sort. But it could also be signature color palette. Right. It could be signature silhouettes of different clothes. It doesn't always have to be like a specific thing.
Right. Yes. So definitely mine was organic. I would tell people my first signature piece was strategic, and it was my shoes, but I'm a shoe fanatic, period. Yeah. But with my name being Famira, most people can't say it. And what I was finding was, when I would go out networking, most people, because they couldn't pronounce it, they wouldn't commit it to memory. And so then when I would go to follow up with them, I was spending all this time trying to remind them of who I was, because it was just kind of like, her name's too hard, I'm not remembering that. Yeah. And so I started wearing bright colored shoes, or like some kind of funky pattern, you know, with my clothes, where my shoes really stood out. So that way, when I would call them, I could say, I was the one in the orange pumps. And they were like,
I love that.
Oh, I remember. And I wasn't having to spend as much time trying to remind them of who I was. So that signature piece was very strategic for that purpose. But the glasses thing, which has been my thing now, especially because I'm more in the online space, most people aren't seeing my shoes too often, but that was organic. One of my good girlfriends, she had a pair of glasses with this frame, and I tried them on, and I was like, oh, these are cute, I like these. And I just bought a whole bunch of different colors and just kind of started wearing them because I liked them, and then it just kind of stuck. So I do agree that I think organically we do it, whether we realize it or not. So we have Ms. Smith here saying that my signature is my hair. I love color. So yes, she always has flat hair.
Oh, yeah. And hair's a good one. I love when people can come up with a signature hairstyle, because that one's, 24/7. You can't forget that. I love that.
Right. So, so cool. Yeah, because I think that is important. I can't believe that we're already almost at the 15-minute mark to our hour. So I want to make sure if anyone has any other questions, please make sure you put your questions in the chat, and we'll get to those and answer them. But I also want you to tell us a little bit about anything that you have coming up, anything more of what you have going on that you want to share with us, and then how people can stay connected with you.
Cool. So you mentioned in my bio in the beginning that I launched the Yes Diet, which was launched in the fall, and then I went through an entire rebrand of what that product is. And so what it is now is it's a program called Reboot, and essentially it's a 4-phase framework It's a productivity system catered specifically to female business owners. And it's all about rediscovering the joy of being a business owner. So it ties in a lot of concepts of best kept self, but it's really catered to that woman that's maybe 2 to 3 years in. And she started off strong with this vision of what her life would look like if she was her own boss. And now it's the exact opposite. It's overwhelmed, it's burnout, it's stressed out. She's last on her list. She has no life except her business. How do we get out of that? And that's a really important concept for me. And so Reboot, which can be found at startrebooting.com. There's a blog up there if you want to go look at some of the articles and the videos that I have. It's all about rediscovering this joy through streamlining, editing, getting very deliberate about what you bring into your life. And it's a very minimalistic approach about lifestyle design around your business. So that is the latest thing that I'm working on. And I'm so obsessed with it. I'm in love with what we've created and the team of people that have already participated through Reboot and everything. Instagram is lately, that's kind of been my jam. So I would love to connect with anyone on Instagram. My handle is at Shauna MacKenzie. So find me there. I'm pretty regular on there. And then Best Kept Self is also on Instagram.
Okay, awesome. So I'm putting all of this in the chat so people can go and find you.
And we take for Best Kept Self too. I want to note that if anyone wants to submit articles to Best Kept Self, we have regular contributors that are with us all year long, but we do accept guest submissions. So if there's anyone in your audience that has anything related to self-care and the self-employed, we take any guest submissions right on Best Kept Self as well.
Okay, awesome. I will be sending you something then. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm excited because I just had my second publication with the Huffington Post, and it's so funny because you and one of my other mentors in my head, Patrice Washington, both of y'all are Huffington Post contributors, and that has always, since I got into doing entrepreneurship, that was on my vision board because of the two of you. And now it's a reality. So I'm telling y'all, it does work, so, having those mentors, that you are kind of watching from afar, it definitely does work. And it does still help you achieve goals. And now then you get to sit down and talk with them like I'm doing now. Yep. So it's been fabulous. So if no one seems to have any questions, so I just want to ask if you have any final thoughts that you want to leave us with, or any piece of advice that you would want to give to female entrepreneurs in regards to what they're doing. Oh, we have one question though, so hold that before you do that. So she says, I'm in the process of doing a rebrand, and I am Muslim and have decided I want to start wearing my scarf again. How do I deal with that?
I would, elaborate a little bit in the chat bar while I talk about what you mean by how do I deal with that. You mean in terms of people's reactions to it, or actually how to incorporate the scarf with your brand? Because in the studio, we certify image consultants all over the world. Yes to both. Okay. So the last round, I spoke with women in both Jordan and Saudi Arabia, and we talked a lot about the headscarf. And what we worked with primarily is playing with color and pattern. And so same thing goes back to the style. Figure out what exactly is your style. What's the feel? Think of what your 3-word mantra is. So what are the 3 words that you want people to think of, the adjectives, to describe you as upon meeting you? And every day when you get dressed and look in the mirror, you think, does this fit with my 3-word mantra? And so with that 3 words, you can take that and apply that to color. So if you wanted to be approachable and warm, you would maybe be gearing, the headscarf colors towards like browns and olive greens. And you can do a simple search of psychology of colors online, and there's tons of stuff out there. So I would play with pattern and color as it relates to your brand. And I would also be thinking about new headshots. Black colors are black, gold, and pink. Oh, I love that. So that's beautiful. And I can kind of see your profile photo, and it looks like that would be amazing against your skin tone, which is awesome. Yeah. So I would recommend then next you kind of find a series of scarves and go get new headshots. I would do that absolutely next with a professional photographer and think about your background and your scenery as it relates to your brand. And then when you have those new headshots, start slowly switching over all of your profile photos on your social, your Facebook cover photos, all of those things. And then in terms of dealing with what people have to say about it, I mean, that's kind of up to you in terms of you've made this decision. You're doing it for a reason. If you feel like you need to put out a blog post as to why, I'm not sure what kind of business you're in, but maybe that's worthwhile explaining that. But I don't necessarily think you need to explain it. I think I will lose people's interest in me. You're not going to know until you do it. So I think you need to be really strong in your reasoning. And if you're making this change already, you must have a strong reason. So you just always have to return to your genuine, I mean, you're going to be fine. The people that get you are going to get you. The people who lose interest, you really want to be working with them anyways, you know?
Right.
So I think if you think it's appropriate and you can be transparent about it, I think maybe a blog post or putting out a message when you release these beautiful new headshot photos about why you've decided to do this would be maybe a worthwhile effort.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So she said, thank you so much for that. So definitely, I mean, because at the end of the day, I agree with what you said. Like you were saying earlier, there's people that don't like you without your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without your head, your scarf. So yeah, you know, it's just, you know, ultimately it's important to you.
Yeah. And as long as you're making this decision solely because of you, you're not making this decision because of what other people have influenced upon you. So if you were listening earlier, we talked about as long as it's your truth, then move forward with it. And I think celebrate it with beautiful photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let us know. So once you come out with them and come back, make sure you come to my Facebook page or my Instagram and message us and let us know so we can check out the beautiful new photos.
And if and if she's on Instagram, I would love for you to post them on Instagram and then tag me and tag Famira. I would love to see them. So make sure I see it. Tag me.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. So this has been great. So I do want to allow you to leave us with some of your last thoughts and any piece of wisdom that you would want to leave with women entrepreneurs in general when it comes to business. Awesome.
I think I will reiterate again how much of a disservice it would be for you not to put yourself out there to the world. I think did I lose everyone? Someone type in the chat bar if you can still hear and see me. Okay. I lost Famira. So I just want to reiterate that it is so incredibly important that you put yourself out there, because whatever it is that you're doing in your business, the skills and the talent that you have, you are doing people a disservice by not sharing that with the world. There's so many people that could use your skills and your knowledge, and that could be potentially life-changing. And so please do not hold yourself back from putting yourself out there for something that's so incredibly valuable. You're doing not only those people, but yourself a disservice. So we lost you for a second, Famira, but
I know my whole computer just like blanked, and I was like, I think the weather out here has been crazy, so I don't know what happened, but it just blanked out. I was like, no. Okay,
but I got it out there.
Okay, great.
Yes, and thank you again for everyone dealing with my poopy cheeks, my dental surgery. So that wasn't on the recording, so I feel the need for my image to be like, my cheeks don't always look like this.
Awesome. I'm just thankful that you still were able to come and join us even with that. And so I just want to tell you again, thank you so much for taking this time to spend with me, because at the end of the day, I'm very appreciative of it, because a lot of people think an hour, oh, it's not that long, but in the grand scheme of entrepreneurship, I understand how long an hour really can be, where you could be working on anything. So I truly appreciate you deciding to spend this hour with me and my viewers. So
absolutely, I love it, and I love you, and I love the energy of all these people in your show. It's great.
Thank you. So with that, you all, we'll be back again next week, 12 p.m. as well, with another awesome guest that that'll be joining me next week for more candid conversations as it relates to business and branding. So make sure that you tune in. You can go to www.babeswhobrand, and as soon as this replay is set up, it'll be up there for you to view it, and you'll get to see who next week's guest is. And so you can head over to there and make sure that you subscribe to next week's show. You can always find me on my website at Famira. It's F as in fabulous, AMIRA, green just like the color.com, and check me out and stay connected and see what all I have going on. All of my social media is the same, Diamond Diva FG. So whatever platform you're on, come visit me on that platform. Say hi, let me know that you're enjoying the show, and make sure you share the show with other people in your community. Don't keep all this juicy fabulousness to yourself. Let other people know that we're doing great things over here on Babes Who Brand. And so I thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.